becoming more apparent day in and day out that Americans have taken over the internet with our shenanigans.
Hey Bobby, look, I'm American. I think I'll use my credit card. Do you guys have anything non-dairy? Anything gluten-free?
By that, I mean, we think that we're the only people on the planet, and there's a lot of posts on the internet to prove it, and that's what I'm here to show you guys today. If there's anything that we've said to you guys that sounded a bit off, a bit weird, a bit wild, let me know in the comments down below. I know ignorance isn't just limited to America, but for the sake of recent events that have been happening and me trying to expand my knowledge of the world and whatnot, it is funny to see these things. Now, I will preface all of this with I'm not innocent or devolved of any of the stuff that I see on the internet that I'm about to show you guys, because I too have said some crazy things in my life. Matter of fact, one of them things was I got the Russian flag mixed up with the French flag, and I got some backlash for that years ago. I think it was like 5 years ago. I was reacting to a video and it happened, and oh my gosh, the amount of messages I got was insane. So let's go ahead and dive nose deep into this thing. If you guys haven't subscribed, go ahead and do that right now, and let's go ahead and get into our first post. A screenshot from TikTok. It actually says, I put my oven on 25 degrees and baked this potato for 4 days straight. And the top comment is, can we please normalize talking about temperature in Fahrenheit? It's far better for these kinds of things. And the following comment is, no, it's not. It's literally not better for anything. This has been an ongoing debate between Americans and the rest of the world since the dawn of time. I've always obviously been used to the imperial system and our Fahrenheit thing, and I'm like, dude, it's easier if you just use Fahrenheit. I know exactly how that works. But the older I've gotten and the deeper I've dove into the European side of things and just other countries in general, I'm starting to notice more people are using Celsius for temperatures than Fahrenheit. I think there's only 3 countries in the entire world that use Fahrenheit, and even the imperial system. I'm not sure if that falls in the imperial system, but look, see, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying crazy stuff right now. So yeah, I remember getting the hang of Celsius maybe 3 years ago. I'm almost 30 and I'm just now getting the hang of Celsius. That's kind of diabolical, but I've been using Fahrenheit my whole life. But again, once I got into European content, I'm like, ooh, okay. So when somebody tells me, oh, it's like 32 degrees outside, I get what they're saying. I'm like, oh, okay, dang, that's a little hot. Like 38 degrees is incredibly hot. But if you say that to your average American, we're gonna think, bro, you didn't wear a jacket, a coat? How are you outside in a tank top and some shorts in 38-degree weather? That don't make no sense. But that's because, again, we love the Fahrenheit system in America. And I'm pretty sure everybody watching this video probably doesn't, unless you're an American. And if for my people who aren't Americans, do you find the Fahrenheit system a little bit easier than the Celsius system? Does it make sense? Does it not make sense? Let me know in the comments down below, because good God, I know I've gotten flack for years about this. 99% of the world uses the metric system, America. It would be easier for you all to use the imperial than for us to change. So yes, dude, it's funny because, again, with that meters, kilometers, blah, 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 I didn't fully understand that either. I mean, I understood it, but I didn't understand it, if you know what I mean. I think what got me into the metric system, ironically, was the gym. So obviously I'm used to like looking at things in pounds and feet and earlobes and nostrils. But then when I got to the gym, a lot of the weight plates were not in pounds, they were in kilos. And I'm like, oh my God. I knew, like, for some reason I understood how the metric system worked in the gym, but the second I left the gym, it's like my brain turned off. So somebody was asking me like what 20 kilograms was, and I'm like, oh dude, just multiply 20 kg by 2.2 for it to equal what it would be in the imperial system in pounds. So that was a really cool formula that wound up working. But the problem is, I'm like, dude, I don't need to use the imperial system anymore. I just know what 20 kg is, you know what I mean? And so when someone's like, oh, I can bench press 115 kg, I'm like, God damn, now you strong, bro, you are strong, okay? So yeah, I definitely see how messed up that is. We definitely default to the imperial system all the time. US defaultism at its finest. A potato wouldn't cook at 25 degrees at all, would it? It's probably just rotten. 25 degrees is like room temperature in the summer, and my potatoes don't cook in the pantry. Yeah, that is a little weird. I noticed that with the potato thing. I'm like, bro, you cooked your potato at 25 degrees Celsius? Really? I don't even think it'll boil. It's not even a boiling point, bro. Like, I don't think you cooked it. You can just admit that you ate your potato raw. That's a weird thing Americans insist on is Fahrenheit. Even the ones who are otherwise on board with the metric system seem willing to die on the Fahrenheit hill. You probably caught it at this point, but I got Fahrenheit and the imperial system intertwined. They're basically one and the same, where the world does not want to use them because the world uses Celsius and the metric system, and America uses Fahrenheit and the imperial system. It's ass backwards. I get that. Listen, for us, it's easier. I don't know why. We've been brainwashed our whole lives, but it works. I'm just saying it works. But we need to get on board with the rest of the world, man. It's been too damn long. We better get right before we get left. This next post shows a Sims t-shirt, and the quote underneath it is $80 for a t-shirt. I'm not personally one to complain about DLC pricing, but that is some true EA insanity. Now, if you look closely at the tag on the shirt, it says 79, and I think if you look closer, 99. Now, I myself, I'm not gonna lie, would think that this shirt is $80, but if this is in Poland, obviously it's a little different, and I actually don't know how their conversion system works, so this would have had me fooled. I would have busted out 80 bucks for one t-shirt, and I'm pretty sure this person did too. Now, maybe crop is the currency in Poland or something, but good God, I'll admit, I just defaulted because that looked like $80 right there. I'm not gonna lie. Look at our price tags and look at that price tag and tell me if you spot the difference, because there is none. Okay, $79.99 and anything $99.99 in America, that you're speaking our language. Okay, maybe you didn't intend to, but you are. And I know this person's overseas in a different country, but dang, it looked crazy. And of course, the person in the comment section obviously isn't overseas. They're in wherever they're residing at, and they're confused, and I would be confused too. Okay, but to be fair, I wouldn't put it past EA to charge $80 for a t-shirt, which is also true. They've been charging a redonkulous amount of money for DLCs since the dawn of time. I mean, since their inception, pretty much. After the disc era, where they would just release discs like every other normal company, once everything became digital downloads on consoles and PC, whatever, they started DLCing the hell out of everybody, and each DLC started a little bit more affordable, a few bucks, then they increased it, and now a DLC damn near is a new game. It costs like $30-$40 for a DLC, depending on what you're playing, but that's normal. So I absolutely could see them charging a ridiculous amount for a t-shirt. Yeah, makes sense. 80 PLN is about $20 US. That's actually crazy. I did not know that. So I don't know what PLN stands for. It's obviously Polish currency, so please let me know in the comments down below what that is, because your boy is cooked. I don't know what that is at all, but it sounds cool. PLN, $20 for a t-shirt. That sounds more reasonable. In fact, that sounds a little bit cheaper than the t-shirts that we're selling in America right now, depending on the store you go to. The ignorance of other currencies never ceases to amaze me. Even when talking about shopping in other countries, they'll revert to saying dollars. Guilty. This next post is pretty interesting. So again, another screenshot from Threads. It says, feels odd to be siding with Germany and Canada. And then the post here says, where is this in the news? Germany protesting because of what Elon Musk did in America. Actually, that's not what happened. Okay, that's not what happened. Diese Menschen wollen keinen Kanzler mit der AfD zusammenarbeitet. Krass, wie viele Leute gekommen sind. And yeah, people are absolutely enraged with this. Funny how the German text says that they're actually demonstrating against, and the English text above that says something completely different. Yo, literally, this is what the German text really says. These people don't want a chancellor who works together with the AfD, far right-wing party. Crazy how many people came. See, that's entirely different than what we saw in the actual post. Next comment says, no one is protesting for the US. People outside the US protest for themselves or others who are oppressed in some form, or protest against the US. Don't let your bubble suggest that we care about what stupidity you people accept in your lives. Yeah, there's been a lot of hate against America recently and stuff, especially since, you know, our president has been making very questionable moves.
That if you will speak very loudly about the war, you can...
He's not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country's in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No, you've done a lot of talking. your country is in big trouble.
I know.
People are definitely losing a little bit of confidence as far as whether or not they can trust America as an ally, and it's unfortunate. I've made a few videos talking about the current situation, and again, every single day it feels like we're opening up a new DLC with a patch that hadn't been patched yet. What are you guys' thoughts and feelings on that in the comments? Because good God, man, I mean, I've been having conversations with you in some of my comment sections in my previous videos, but this is nuts. White privilege is being able to go anywhere with a time machine and not be oppressed. And I already knew this post was gonna get some flack. The next comment underneath it says, the Slavs, Jews, Irish, Barbary slaves, Armenians, Greeks, white LGBT, Russians, Germans, French, Dutch, Belgians, Italians, Hungarians, Romanians, Danes, Norwegians, Finns, Russians, Ukrainians, Baltics, Albanians, and others would like to have a word with you, original poster. Cause they didn't experience any oppression at any point in time, ever in history. Like at any point in a time machine, you can go back and they were all living it up and drinking wine and fine because they was white. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think people are getting shit twisted a little bit. Let's say we were all one color. People would still find something to discriminate against. That's kind of how people are. I mean, how we are as creatures and how every species is to some degree, right? I mean, humans in general are very judgmental creatures, obviously. So if there's something that's different, not quote unquote normal, then people will find a way to scrutinize you because of that. Now think of growing up in school, middle school or high school or whatever. People get bullied all the time, and they typically get bullied because they're different. Underneath that it says, on English neck, a Norman yoke. Scotland? Nah. The Spanish too, because of the Moors. Oh, and especially poor white women as well. Does this mean queer people are automatically not white regardless of their actual skin color? Yikes. Yeah, big yikes, man. That was definitely a post that wasn't well thought out. They are lighting dude up in the comments, man. This one says, you know where the word slave came from? From Slav. The word slave is technically a racial slur on the level of what the N-word is for black people, but it's a long time ago, so it doesn't count apparently. I actually did not know that, but it makes sense. Slav, slave, oh my gosh, did not know that. Underneath this original post is another comment that says, humans just hate different humans. Even not speaking the local language or having the wrong color of hair can get some angry words thrown your way. But yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. People will always find something to separate you from the rest of the pack. That's just how it is. And there's a wide variety of reasons why. There's a pack mentality in general, and people want to feel like they belong. And there's other individuals that don't really care about fitting in at all. Think about this. Let's narrow it down. Obviously, you see this dude right here that you are watching on your TV screen or your computer or whatever with a Naruto headband. Okay, let's talk about that real quick. Back in the day when anime wasn't so popular, you had to die on that hill alone. Okay, and I was one of them people. So yeah, over the years it became more popular and more socially acceptable to watch anime, and I've been liking anime since it wasn't socially acceptable. Okay, I'm just saying there's 1,000,003 things you can pick on for somebody that is different than the rest of the people. The next post says, my dude stayed in the cage a little longer to let them know how angry he was. And then underneath that says, excuse me, what state is this in? You can't be doing this. When I saw this, I'm like, how are you assuming this is in the States? Like, what the freak? Now, I will give you guys something after I read the rest of this, but it is interesting because I stopped myself when I asked that question, because obviously we've had the Tiger King in America selling tigers. He had a whole tiger exhibit in his backyard. So yeah, I can see where that question came from, especially since it was a viral series on Netflix. The comment underneath that says, what on earth made you believe this was in the US? Is there a reason to think that it's not? This person automatically assumed that this tiger was released in the US. First of all, that would be diabolical, but I also, to play devil's advocate, could actually see that happening. So let's look at the comments and see what y'all had to say. What makes us think it's not? Maybe because tigers aren't native to the US? True, but again, let me play devil's advocate here. So are a lot of different species. They're not native to America, and they find themselves in America, in zoos, or purchased by some super wealthy person that releases them into the abyss in America. That happens a lot. That does happen. So I do kind of see what the person is talking about a little bit. Now, defaulting to automatically thinking that it's in America is crazy, but considering the craziness that's been happening in the country, I wouldn't put that past us either. Sadly, there are more tigers in captivity in the US than wild tigers in India or Siberia, where this is likely to be. See? Now I have to fact check this because I'm not sure how true that is, but I could believe it. We'd be capturing the craziest, most exotic animals and just have them in confinement in the US. Are they native to the US? Absolutely not. But could we make them native to the US? Probably. With as many creatures we have here that don't really belong in America, I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, the fact that they're releasing a fucking tiger might be a good hint that it's not in the States, especially with your assertion that they cannot be doing it. Yeah, that's the part that got me. I'm like, they can't do that here. I'm like, okay, all right. Put two and two together. That's probably not the US. Maybe you should have led with, is this in the US? You might have caught less flack asking, but I do get where the questions are coming from because again, I mean, y'all see it. America's always in the news for some diabolicalness. If anything, I mean, Florida does have a lot of the craziest people in America, but also other states in America too, like are also equally as crazy in different ways. So I wouldn't put it past America, but I do get the sentiment. This next post is pretty interesting. Part of the roof falls and hits the attendee at the radius. And then the next comment is, that's how you get someone to go to their car. Grab the strap, then come back to see if you want to keep pushing people. Underneath the post, it says, in my city, guns are restricted. But something similar happened. 4 dudes came back with machetes and the bouncer lost his arm at the elbow. Nobody cried for him. The comment underneath that says, no city in America doesn't have a problem with gun violence. And then boom, the guy's like, yeah, dude, I'm not in the US. Underneath that says, yeah, the 4 dudes with machetes chopped off a bouncer's arm, tipped us off, thanks. Literally crazy, but the comments speak for themselves. The backpedaling is immense. The next comment is, I'm too tempted to just start assuming everyone's from the UK, and when they, for example, complain about guns, tell them we have restricted gun laws, etc., and see how the Americans like it. I mean, shit, that would start an internet war, but you know, that probably has been going on for a long time. Next comment says, it's amazing that they always think the person is lying before they think the person isn't in the US. That's defaultism at its finest. People think that, okay, yeah, automatically, whatever scenario or situation pops up, it's gotta be in the US. I mean, why would it not be? The world is the US. The US is the world. Right? This next post comes from r/immigration and it says, my friend with an illegal status was picked up by the Tunisian police. Haven't heard from him since. What could happen? Here's the blurb and it says, my friend who doesn't have legal status in Tunisia from Cameroon was taken by the police recently and I haven't heard from him since. I'm really worried and unsure about what happens in these situations. Has anyone been through something similar? What are the possible outcomes? And is there any way I can find out what happened to him? Any advice would be greatly appreciated. So pretty legit post. He's just looking for some answers. And the top comment is, what does Tunisian police have to do with this? Why would a foreign country's police arrest someone inside the US? I swear, my last brain cell is on life support, and this might just take him out. The response underneath that, this happened in Tunisia. Sorry if it was not enough context to show that. I'll edit it. Bro, literally the top comment that garnered like 1.9k updates says, what dumbhead reads Tunisian police and thinks this happens in the US? Like, bruh. You see, okay, this happened in Tunisia. It's gotta be the US. Bro, what? And then the next comment says, if there was ever a pure defaultism, that is it. Assuming something takes place in the US despite evidence of the opposite is just, I mean, how do some people even live? Oh, live in America for a year. It'll be great. Bro. This response right here was comedy. Like this comment, bro, like by Blaze Ragnarok Blade. Oh my gosh. Accurate. What were you thinking? Anyways, are you ready? This is on Twitter. Can you name a nation that doesn't have regional accents? And then somebody said US Alabama. They had to have been trolling because ain't no fucking way you picked the one spot in America with the strongest accent. Alabama, bro? Really? I could put a montage of what Alabama people sound like. Bro, they got the thickest accent. Looking at the evidence, I think it's clear that region from where I'm from has no accent. Everyone just talks the normal way while other regions have clear accents. A tale as old as time, y'all. A tale as old as time. This implies that some Americans speak default English while everyone else has an accent. I think that counts as US defaultism. Absolutely, 100%. I've defaulted so many times, it's insane. guilty of it. But I think sometimes I still default in some regard. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? I definitely take a step back now. I mean, I'm more likely to assess what my situation is and think a little bit after I speak, and sometimes even before. That's a huge step in the right direction, I guess. This next comment though says, I think many Americans slept through any and all geography lessons. Don't ask me what any flag is, okay? Because I definitely did sleep through geography lessons, bro. I have no idea where anything is. Just hold up, we have geography lessons? That's what I'm saying. What? Also, I mean, with them restricting the curriculum in America right now during this presidency, expect more people to be on board with what you're seeing on the defaultism sense of things, because our education system is about to get packed up. This post right here says, bro, you can't do anything about it. Now she got to pay like 10 grand for nothing. LOL. Not where I live, you don't. Ambulance there is to help, not to suck money out of you. Okay, hold on. This has to do with someone basically getting into an accident and getting picked up by an ambulance. And then literally the next comment underneath that is like, not everyone has the disgrace of living in America. And the comment underneath that says, 10 grand? Holy shit, is that what you free folk pay? Yeah, actually a lot more. Story time. I found myself in a very compromised situation, we'll just say that. And I had to get picked up by an ambulance and taken to the hospital 2 minutes away from the destination I was at. And the 2 minutes that it took for me to get from point A to point B, I had to pay, go ahead and guess. How much money do you think that ambulance ride cost for a 2-minute ambulance ride? If you said $3,000, you would be correct, because that's how much it cost for a 2-minute ambulance ride. $3,000 on my medical bill. I was like, oh my God. And for one day in the hospital, we racked up about $30,000. So yeah, fortunately I have health insurance and that covered what was going on. But yeah, very unfortunate for the free people over here. Okay, yeah, it's expensive as hell. That's why a lot of people would rather Uber themselves to the hospital than be taken there by ambulance. It's a vicious business out here in America. I ain't gonna lie to you. But let's look at the comments. That is the price you have to pay for the freest freedom in the world. Yeah. Right? The next comment says, hard to imagine why American ambulances cost that much, even when some or most are private for-profit ambulance companies. Yeah, dude. I also did not realize that a lot of the ambulances are privatized for-profit companies, but it doesn't surprise me at this point. Nothing really does. But this next comment says, what's even crazier is they also have the biggest healthcare budget compared to the total federal budget worldwide. So they pay the most to get the least. Isn't that crazy, bro? There's a whole thing that happened. I'm pretty sure you saw it with United Healthcare, which is a privatized healthcare. People would be getting injured or something would be medically wrong with them. And of course, they're paying what, $700-800 a month for their healthcare bill. And their insurance companies are like, sorry, we can't cover your hospital bills because our insurance doesn't cover this condition as of 2 minutes ago. Like, bro, what? And when you get sick or injured or whatever, they back out of taking care of you, even though that's exactly why you got the insurance in the first place, for them to take care of you. Let's get into our last post. It's a 3-part thing. So part 1 shows these, and I'm not gonna lie, this does look sus. And it says outfits are a little sus. The post actually says at the very top, if you look at it, it says the Holy Week procession in Spain. But you got these cones and the little eye cutouts and stuff, so obviously it looked like the KKK. So the next commenter says maybe they should change the costume because it looks like the KKK. And he shows a side-by-side comparison of the KKK and the Spain peoples, whatever, And I'm like, oh, okay, well, damn, it does look like I'm a KKK member. I mean, look, it looked like a spade. A spade's a spade's a spade. But I guess it's not, because this next post here says, funny you say that because there is a good guy's version of the Ku Klux Klan. That would be the Spanish Capirote. I don't know if I'm saying this right. The Spanish Capirote, the KKK stole their whole drip. I don't know why they keep dressing up like that though. Like, the connotations are terrible. They're forever going to look like the KKK. Now, the comments are interesting because this comment says, the irony is that the KKK is also notoriously anti-Catholic. Right? The next comment is, yep, a tradition that goes back to the Middle Ages should change because a racist organization in America copied their outfit for their evil purposes. Yeah. not gonna happen. But I do understand where the conflict is, because I ain't gonna lie to you, Chief. If you show this to anybody in America at all, or a lot of people in the world that are not from Spain, they'd be like, isn't that the KKK? If they didn't know about what goes on in Spain, they might default to thinking like, dang. Now, that's just me thinking that other people would default to the US as well, since the KKK is such a big thing. And it's taught in a lot of, like, you know, history lessons and whatnot, I assume. And just real weird, you know what I'm saying? And our final comment, people calling out old Spanish cultural religious costumes instead of dealing with the issues within their own country. If anything, the call's coming from the inside of the house. Go attack your racist gnomes for cultural appropriation and, you know, the racism. The audacity to go demand a whole other country to change their customs that are older than the whole USA just because they can't get a grip in their own society. Yeah, I was thinking about that. Obviously, the organization, the KKK, copied this whole look and whatnot and ran with it. And so we have this thing of not just defaultism, but recency. And since, you know, what is freshest in a lot of people's mind is the KKK, when you see this getup, I mean, what else were you going to think it was? It's not a ghost costume, because I don't think ghosts got pointy heads. But yeah, it is pretty crazy. But on that note, let me know what you guys think. What is the wildest thing we've said to you guys? Put it in the comments down below. I'm putting together a video where I'm using you guys' comments to tell some crazy stories and whatnot that you guys have had, because your stories are absolutely diabolical.